West Ham 1, Manchester United 1. Sesko with the last minute dagger to get the draw. And United Strand ain't cutting no strands off the top of his head today. Unbelievable. What a scenario at the end. Do you know what? A lot of people, I think, were aiming on his literal watch along. I was watching at the same time. And every time Man United had an attack, everybody was watching that stream there. Mm-hmm. Probably more so than even someone like Goldbridge. It was absolutely crazy. But let's get away from the whole social media nonsense. Yeah, let's talk about the game.
Let's not talk about his hair anymore. Yeah, the game's more important.
Yeah, even your brother before backstage was saying that the guy's not getting his haircut. But I tell you what,
I mean, that's all anyone's talking about in regards to Man United at the moment, mate. No transfer policy, not about the Glazers. It's about his hair.
But yeah, let's get into the match because West Ham, I tell you, Nuno Espirito de Santos, what a tactical setup to completely nullify Manchester United of anything at all. Like, I didn't see across the match any really gilt-edged chances that Manchester United had to really get into the match. And obviously, West Ham, with that goal that they scored, just literally a low-driven cross across the box, little tap in, Souček, and it just went in. So it was just absolutely crazy to watch this match. And you know, West Ham, I was fearing this match for Man United. The reason being is because they're in the relegation zone. They need to get out of that. Exactly. And when you're going against that type of team this time of year and wanting West Ham, essentially, West Ham wants to get out of that area, they're going to try their utmost best to win this game. They did. Their tactical setup, we were discussing it before this, obviously, recording, very good. Very good. Obviously, that low block that they deployed, obviously the mid block as well, really just absolutely shutting up shop. So, Aaron, what's your thoughts on the match? Because Man United, personally, I don't think they had much creativity. I thought they were pretty bland in that area. They were playing decently, moving the ball decently. However, the final product wasn't there. It wasn't that good until that obviously Sesko goal. So, what's your thoughts on the entire Man United performance?
Mate, I don't really know where to start, really. I mean, in terms of the actual game, there's not really much to speak about in terms of how the game went. Man United attacked, West Ham defended. West Ham came out, United had to defend. It was just like a bit of an ebb and flow between a team that weren't really penetrative enough in terms of, sort of like really pulling it on West Ham. And West Ham just sat back and then sort of said, you have the ball. And whenever you're not, whenever you're not sharp, we'll counterattack you. If we're talking about it in terms of the goal that changed the match, I feel like, it's a mistake from Luke Shaw. He's not read the situation very well. He's panicked. He's not done what he should have done, which is just get rid of it anywhere.
Yep,
or look for, someone to sort of,
It was his blunder that cost that match.
In any doubt in that situation, and you got, with the way the match is going, I think he showed poor, his situational intelligence in that sort of aspect of the game. So, you got to put it on Luke Shaw, because I don't think, in terms of from what I watched anyway, it was looking likely that West Ham would sort of like pull it away. Somerville and Bowen played quite well. Do you know what I mean? I don't think the West Ham centre forward was actually like giving much apart from work rate. So I didn't really feel like it was in danger. So that instance kind of just put Man United on the back foot and made us have to go and chase the game, and maybe obviously the game had to be chased, but I feel like it was enforced now. You're not comfortable.
Yeah,
you're kind of like, if you're going to go for it, West Ham will just kind of maybe try to push up a little bit, try and catch you again for the second, and they nearly got it a couple of times. So yeah, it was. I'm not going to sit here and sort of say anything bad about the tactics or Carrick. I just feel like West Ham probably watched the last 4 games and really studied that United, if you let Martinez and if you let, us get the ball in the middle of the pitch, we then can switch it and turn, on the turn and then get it to the wings, and then Bruno comes in, and then I think they just nullified all that. We hardly got a touch. It was a tough watch as a United fan, but I think
Yeah.
West Ham fans, must be happy with that, even if it was a last-minute dagger from Sesko.
Yeah. What do you think about Cunha coming off? And do you think it was the right move?
I feel like Mbeumo was more the person that should have came off. Really, I've kind of found him a lot more ineffectual throughout the whole 90 minutes. I did think that Cunha also weren't. I think when players like that can't find space and can't affect the game,
They get nullified. Yeah.
it's better to sort of bring them on to sort of maybe make it a bit of another dimension. Like I thought when we got the ball up, when Sesko and Xerxes were on a bit more, although I still feel like the same mistakes we couldn't play with the ball on the ground. I feel like the route one option and the crossing option was the best option, and we actually got there, and that's what's got us the goal,
Yeah, absolutely. And I felt when I looked at the match and I was looking at the goal, the first one that was obviously disallowed essentially, that Casemiro headed that win. And it was a
we
very,
we
very,
knew it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very, very tight. Casemiro even knew. He went like this. He was like, I don't even know, really. And it takes an experienced player to not celebrate because you don't know if it's offside or not and just wait and
At
see what
first, I was
happens.
like, and then I saw his face, and he's like, and that referee was a dickhead to Man United today as well. I'm not just saying that, but the amount of things he just let go where players are just being pushed on the floor and just literally being tripped over. I thought the referee was on West Ham's side a bit, but that might sound like sour grapes, mate. So I'll move on swiftly.
Yeah. I looked at the match and I didn't see really much. How can I call it, really? It's where Man United, they were just fizzing direct passes into the box. When Diallo had it on the outside, he was trying to cross it a lot. And Mbeumo, when he went on the outside, he was trying to cross it a lot. And sometimes you just need someone with a bit more risk taking, where he can just fizz a ball right like low and hard into the box. But I think that's why Sesko came on, really. I think that's why Sesko came on, to be that kind of player in that box, that target man, that focal point to do that.
I do agree with you, because it probably could have, like, the player that you're maybe kind of talking about in terms of like getting the ball down the wing and fizzing it in would be like an Antonio Valencia or something like that back in the day. Get down the line and really hit them hard crosses in there. I don't think we were bothering West Ham a lot with that. The crosses were quite aerial. They got big lads in there. Do you know what I mean? Like, and they just kind of continuously won. I think it was Disasi as well. I thought
Disasi and Mavropanos. You can't be crossing into those two. They're giants. These dudes, absolute giants. Like, you can't. They're so physical
as well. Yeah, Diouf as well.
Diouf. Yeah, exactly. And obviously Wan-Bissaka on the outside as well. And he had a decent game. So it's just there's a lot of different talking points. One of them is like when Man United were trying to push on, you saw Casemiro overlapping. Like, I wouldn't expect Casemiro to be in that area on the left-hand side in the first place. I would like Casemiro to be just a bit high. If you are trying to push on, Casemiro's the guy that either goes centrally or can make those threaded through passes behind the defense, like a chip through ball or something that's a bit more inventive. The only players that you really had in that team that could have done those inventive passes were probably Mainu and probably Casemiro, and they're the deepest, obviously, in the midfield, and they're the most, I would say, most intelligent passes. Bruno Fernandes, he just, I pretty much thought he was just non-existent today. He was just the usual Bruno Fernandes, to be honest. For my,
I don't know. I think again, David, you have to look at the way that the game plan was for West Ham, is to not let him affect the game, and they did their job very well on him as well, sort of thing. So I feel like he also tried to get into multiple positions up front and try to affect play. But the block was so well executed as well, fundamentally. And then secondly, if we don't keep our shape and remain disciplined, they're just going to come out at us. And they've got pace on the wing. That Somerville didn't have a bad game today. I didn't really know too much about him until like West Ham will come on this run of form. He's a really good player. And Jared Bowen as well, sort of thing. I thought like that was their threat, really. And they were quite happy to just stick with that. And sometimes if the plan's not failing, don't change it. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think they did. And we kind of, I feel like that finish from Benjamin Sesko, like it's out of the blue for one, because it's inventive, because it's not expected. And I don't necessarily think that the West Ham defenders did anything wrong.
They didn't.
It's just quality. Do you know what I mean? But Again,
Yeah.
on the balance of play, Man United, uh, I thought there was some good stuff in there, and I don't actually feel like any kind of disrespect or kind of bad sort of label should be put on that performance. It was a hard,
Mm.
tough Premier League game, and West Ham are obviously fighting for what they're fighting for. We're trying to strive forward. We could have went, third today, I think, if we would have been able to win
Yeah.
that, and Strandy would have got his haircut as well. But it's
Yeah, the situation is that if I look at the past 4 matches and the balance of how the games were played, and I really wanted to suggest this to you because against Man City, you didn't have majority of the ball. Against
no,
Arsenal, you didn't have majority of the ball.
yeah,
Tottenham had large spells, and obviously, Man United dealt with them. Fulham, when they were in the ascendancy and they tried to go for the winner, that's when Man United really caught them out as well.
yeah,
So it was against a lot of the run of play as well that Man United found their successes previous, where they were beating teams on transition. They weren't beating
yeah,
teams trying to maintain the ball.
yeah.
They were really just basically having quick fire transitional play,
Mhm.
good counter-attacking opportunities like Cunha's goal against Arsenal, different goals that we've seen also.
Yeah,
Obviously, Man United as well, like the last game against Fulham, the same thing. So this was where Man United had control and West Ham was sitting back. Is a different story. These are the
different
kind of
game. It's a
matches
different game. Different game, definitely. Yeah,
exactly. These are the matches that you said before that these are the dog fights where you
Mhm.
just need to try and grind out these victories.
Yeah. I think at a certain point, I mean, I would have preferred even not to question anything, but maybe Sesko and Xerxes on a bit earlier.
Yeah,
Just put two of them and sit them in there, let them have that dogfight to give the wingers a bit more space
yeah,
to sort
freedom.
of
Yeah,
operate. Yeah, operate. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, I'm not. I'm not the manager of Man United, so I can't
yeah,
really say
Carrick is.
that.
Yeah.
Say that what I would say would have worked or whatever in that situation.
Mm.
But yeah, it did seem like it needed another dimension, really, where even if we could have sort of said, like, let's just for 5 or 10 minutes, let's just like stop their structure and let's just go over the top for a little while.
Yeah.
We could have varied it a little bit. But as I said, do you know what I mean? Like in a tough game like that, where on the 95th minute, I'm thinking, effing hell, do you know what I mean? I'm going to come on here with David and have to, sort of say, oh, you know what I mean? Like, it's not
Man
too
United
bad,
lost.
it's
Yeah.
not too bad. But yeah,
Mhm.
I'm happy with it. But I'm unhappy in certain elements. But you have to take that into the next
Yeah.
game and
But
say we had a. It's good that we had the stomach to get back into a game like that.
yeah. So obviously, Carrick, it's five games, 4 wins, 1 draw.
Mm-hmm.
Across obviously, it's kind of like obviously since the Man City game that he took over, he's done a phenomenal job so far.
Yeah,
I don't see any problem the way he laid out the team. Maybe some decisions be a bit naive in terms of his attitudes towards the match, like you're saying, Xerxes bring him on earlier, Sesko bringing them on earlier. If West Ham are going to sit back, you've got to literally just use your tallest players now and just try and do a Van Gaal and try and put
or
like
do do
fribbing
do 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 an Arteta.
yeah, yeah. Like when Van Gaal used to put Fellaini in up front, and people were just
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
"What
yeah,
the
yeah.
hell's
I
going
hear it.
on here, mate?" Yeah, and
Yeah,
all the centre backs just flooding forward. That's it. Route one,
yeah,
and sometimes you do need to do that. So yeah, Man United. I would say on the balance of play that Man United deserved the draw.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
I
think they
think
deserve to lose that game. I would say, and I'm just going to go through a couple of players, obviously, for you, and obviously the back four. They didn't deal with the goal well. They didn't really like Luke Shaw. I think he had a very overall like that game passage of play that they had with that just long ball just
all
from the
over. Yeah,
defensive end.
yeah,
It was just a bit mad. Like I just like Juve just literally just fizzed it
yeah.
completely crazy up front and just like Luke Shaw's just hanging there in the air and just waiting for the ball to drop. Like
No,
go in,
yeah,
have a bit
yeah.
of
Go
a
in.
have
He
a
let
bit
the
of
ball
heart
bounce.
to
He let the ball
yeah. You let
bounce.
the
That was the
that's
thing.
the
He
problem.
never did that.
That's the
You
problem.
attack the ball immediately. You don't let it bounce.
Ex-
You Suchek's about 2 times taller than him as well. It's
yeah,
like,
exactly.
yeah, do you know
Yeah,
what I mean? He has to just get his shoulder, his hand across, and then he's got him. So, yeah, it's just, I can't blame Luke Shaw. I mean, he's been great since, Carrick's come in. But
yeah.
yeah, just those little lapses in concentration, obviously, do you know what I mean, just cost you in a game like
Mm,
that, really. When they didn't need to be. I didn't think we were in trouble at that stage of the game. But anyway,
yeah.
sorry. No.
I no, it's fine. I thought towards the end of the match, just after you scored the goal, Man United had a quick counter attack. Basically, it was literally like 3-on-4. Am Diallo Like I thought Amad Diallo in that last break there
He should have
would have
just
gone for goal
took it
himself.
himself. He should have took. I was
Gone for
screaming,
himself.
screaming
Yeah,
at my
just go for
computer screen. I said,
yourself.
just take it yourself. Do you know what I mean?
That's the
Yeah.
problem with I think some of these young players is that they don't have that
Ahmed,
that
with a confident Ahmed would have done something
yeah
magical with that. I really, really
yeah
think so. I feel like even though we've been on a rich vein of form, I think I'm not worried about his form, but I think he has kind of like performed well, done his job, but he's not contributed with the goals and done what Cunha and Mbeumo have done. I want him to step up to that. Was his moment, I think. Just sort of go on, like just put the icing on
Let
the
me take
cake,
it on.
wrap up the result, and then do you know what I mean? But that confidence of like maybe the performance is there, but the goal scoring aspect is just a bit like a confident Ahmed would have just went like
he only had one player to beat. He literally one player to beat. Just go inside, and that's what I kept on talking about. It's like there's differences in confidence in these young players. Like I know, I'm going to tell you right now, and obviously the comparison is very, very like crazy, but Yamal would have scored that.
Oh yeah,
I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah,
he would have gone and just straight away just gone bang in the back of the net. Like Elise would have scored that. You see these kind of players.
I think Cunha would have scored that.
Yeah, probably Cunha would have gone for it as well. Exactly. So it's just the confidence levels at the time. And I feel sorry for him because obviously he maybe tried to look for the teammate. So you're looking for okay, maybe he's a bit of a team player, trying to do that, trying to pass it into Sesko, whoever's in the box at the moment. So yeah, I think Amad Diallo, he needed to take that one. But look, generally the team was decent. It wasn't that bad. And obviously you take the draw as it is. So pretty much Man United now, they move on to other games away at Everton, Goodison Park. That's going to be a very tough.
That's another one.
Tough game. Yeah, Crystal Palace, always going to be a difficult game. Then Newcastle, Man United, a very decent game. And then just a final one in the next four is Aston Villa at home at Old Trafford, which is going to be a great opportunity.
Hopefully that is going to be built up to be the way we think it is. If I don't know, Chelsea are going to have a lot to say because I don't think they're,
Chelsea drew today against Leeds.
Chelsea drew today as well. Yeah.
They drew today with Leeds. So Man United keep their position. They maintain the fourth spot. Yeah. And yeah, it's always going to be the opportunity for Man United to go and get those points, but then sometimes may just drop a little bit back. You're always going to expect blips. It's not going to be
it's not a perfect science. It's not a perfect science. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Carrick's got to work a lot more with the team to try and get that. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
I'm sitting there in quite like kind of a mixed mood, but quite happy that we didn't take an L today because I think that that still just keeps it tidy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it keeps it tight. It does keep it tidy. So currently sitting 2 points away from Aston Villa. Chelsea just in behind. If I can bring in the current Premier League table, we'll have a look at that. So the current Premier League table is here. So if you can see here, it's Manchester United, obviously Arsenal, Man City, and let me just zoom out quickly. So 56 points Arsenal, Man City 50, 47 for Aston Villa, and Man United currently sitting on 45 points. So it's
so far away from 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. But obviously, it's going to be that battle between Manchester United anyway and Chelsea. So it's going to be a very, very tough, obviously, final few months until the end of the Premier League between them two. They're definitely going to be key to competing for top four. I don't think Man United will overtake Aston Villa. I think
that's dependent upon Aston Villa. To be fair, if
it is,
they can't blip now. They need to keep consistent. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so we're going to be obviously wrapping up today's video. Just on the final words, my thoughts on Man United. Decent performance, not really the most creative sparks in the team to make a difference. But West Ham, Espirito de Santo obviously set up the team well. Nuno, we know that his teams famously have always been quite defensive. So he went in there, set up the team really well. And yeah, the draw
I
is.
think the message is finally getting through to their players. Actually, they want it. They want the fight. So that was what they could take out of it today. West Ham.
Absolutely, from exactly from the relegation fight and trying to stay up. And West Ham is a team that we always want to stay up anyway. So I think it's one of those teams that should be in the Premier League anyway. Aaron, final thoughts on the game?
Oh yeah, well, do you mean a hard fought 1-1 at Upton? Well, not Upton, but at the Olympic Stadium.
We know it's Upton Park, mate. Let's call it Upton Park, mate.
The bowling ground.
The bowling ground. Yeah,
at the Olympic Stadium. But yeah, do you know what I mean? I think West Ham, based on that, obviously, if you look, we didn't look at the bottom of the table, but I mean, there's a little bit of a slugfest going on there as well.
Yeah.
On that performance, I respect it. I hope they stay up. Do you know what I mean? As for Man United, just onwards and upwards. Do you know what I mean? I didn't disrespect the performance. I thought it was good. We just didn't have the keys to unlock the doors today. But on another day, I feel like we could have went on and won that. So, you know, mixed feelings.
Absolutely. Well, guys, what did you think of the match? Make sure you like, comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And we'll see you next time on another match reaction. Next one probably is going to be the Arsenal game. But we probably could be doing another video, which will be very special coming up soon, including Barcelona, which is an idea we've both come up with. So could be a good video for that one. But guys, take care. See you later. And it's Manchester United 1, West Ham 1. Take care, people. Adios.